What is up, YouTube? Today we're going to be playing a VGC Regulation F ladder tournament that I'm hosting, and we're going to be using a interesting team that was able to get second place in a huge Victory Road online tournament, as well as get top 8 at the recent Toronto Regional Championship. This is going to be a Galarian Moltres team that we are going to be featuring that was built by Dorian Kang, and it has some pretty cool tech, so we are going to be showcasing this team. If you do want to participate in the ladder tournaments that I do host, make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure you have notifications on, because I do post when the online codes do happen, so you can use it to sign up on your Nintendo Switch and play in these ladder tours, as well as potentially showcase in the videos. But let us break down the team real quick, and then we'll get into the ladder tournament. So this team features a very popular core in Regulation F Part 2 that has been really trending recently. It features a combination of the Flutter Mane with Speed Booster alongside the Choice Band Hisuian Arcanine, the Assault Vest Raging Bolt, and Wellspring Ogerpon. And this combination is really strong because it's very proactive compared to like an Incineroar that normally has Fake Out support. It really is just able to dish out a ton of damage immediately thanks to the Icy Wind and Thunder Wave speed control that the Flutter Mane is able to provide, as well as the heavy damage from the Hisuian Arcanine, and then paired with like Raging Bolt and Wellspring Ogerpon to be able to help out against the Water Urshifu and really just be able to tank attacks and threaten a lot of damage with good offensive coverage. So let us go over the team real quick. We have the Speed Booster Flutter Mane up first, and a lot of these spreads I do want to mention did come from Michael Kelsch, creating a recreation of the team. So I will also link him down below in the description if you want to check him out, because he did post this recreation on Twitter. So the EV spreads, these are where it came from. We have Speed Booster Flutter Mane with Moonblast, Icy Wind, Thunder Wave, and Tom Thunder Wave Flutter Mane just becoming very popular because of the fact that a lot of Flutter Manes are the Speed Booster and they run Icy Wind, so a way to get an advantage in the mirror and of course to have permanent speed control potentially is that Thunder Wave option, because Thunder Wave reducing the speed by half is more crucial than the Icy Wind, so it could actually matter for getting immediate speed advantage in the mirror. And Bolt Flutter Mane has been a very big trend recently because of the fact that it's just able to tank attacks such as like a Rillaboom Wood Hammer in grassy terrain, as well as like Terra Water Surging Strikes from Urshifu sometimes, and that's kind of the idea of why Bolt Flutter Mane has been sticking around, because it can just do some pretty good damage with the Moonblast, Thunder Wave, just be a nuisance around, and have that Icy Wind and of course Taunt to be able to stop like a Moongus Spore, as well as some Trick Room stuff. So Bolt Flutter Mane, this is the idea of to be able to tank the Surging Strikes, the Wood Hammer. Most of it usually rolls in your favor, and then the rest a little bit of extra speed because you're able to outspeed base 90s, I believe, max speed base 90s after you switch out the Flutter Mane and come back in, and if you lose your speed booster, so that's always useful. But across the board, this Flutter Mane is designed to stick around and really just be a nuisance overall. Next, we also have the Choice Band Arcanine, which is very popular because it's very offensive. It can really be proactive with that Icy Wind, Thunder Wave speed control. That Intimidate is, of course, a really good ability, being able to lower the attack on the opposing side, and the Grass Terra type just to help out against the Water Urshifu, especially, as well as the Wellspring Ogerpon. You have Flare Blitz, Rock Slide, Head Smash, and Extreme Speed. Head Smash is just that really strong rock type attack. Even though it's inaccurate, it can just be able to Oko stuff like a female entity right off the bat. So yeah, it's extremely powerful. And this Arcanine is actually running Jolly, and sometimes they go Adamant, but this one is going Jolly because of the fact that you are able to outspeed potentially Landers and Carnets, especially because a lot of them are running Modest Natures in the format, which means that Jolly max speed Arcanine is able to outspeed and threaten with Flare Blitz. So you can go for like Icy Wind from your Flutter Mane, as well as Flare Blitz from your Hisuian Arcanine, and you're usually able to pin a knockout into the Landers and Carnets because they usually run Terra Steel to avoid taking super effective damage from the Icy Wind from Flutter Mane. Next, we have the Assault Vest Raging Bolt, a really strong Pokemon that's just able to stick around, dish out a ton of damage, have that speed control for Electro Web. It's really hard to stop. That Terra Electric is really going to be able to power up its Electric type moves and get rid of any weaknesses that its Dragon typing had, especially the Ice and the Dragon and Fairy coverage, and just able to do a ton of damage with Thunderbolt, Dragon Pulse, Thunderclap for the priority, and Electro Web, because maintaining the speed is pretty nice with this board, especially with like Hisuian Arcanine, Galarian Moltres, which aren't the fastest Pokemon but do hit pretty hard. The EV spread on this Raging Bolt is going to be able to outspeed a Landers Incarnate after like an Icy Wind or Electro Web speed drop, and does have a lot of HP to be able to take the maximum turns of grassy terrain, as well as an odd HP stat for Ruination, because you are able to take 51% of your remaining HP instead of a 50%, which could actually matter in some calcs. And then 100 special attack is able to get an extra stat point in its special attack while being able to take attacks with its physical defense being invested. Then we have the Wellspring Ogerpon, Wellspring Mask, Water Absorb, really great answer to Landorus Incarnate, as well as the Water type Urshifu's. And this one, going to be running a pretty standard set, Ivy Cudgel, Hornleech, Follow Me for the redirection, which is nice against Urshifu, and Spiky Shield. But the EV spread, since you have a lot of speed control on this team, it's actually focusing more on bulk so the Wellspring Ogerpon can actually stick around. We have max HP with like 204 defense, 4 attack, 28 special defense, and 20 speed. And overall, like, this Wellspring Ogerpon is really just designed to be able to take attacks like close combat from Urshifu, especially with the help of Intimidate, and really just be able to stick around and then dish out, you know, good damage with Ivy Cudgel and Hornleech. It's really there to be able to stick around and really support the rest of the Pokemon so they can do the maximum amount of damage. Next, we have the star of the show, which is going to be the Galarian Moltres. And this Galarian Moltres, choice specs, able to do a ton of damage if it is under 50% HP, especially from an opponent's attack. It gets the special attack boost from its Berserk ability and really able to do a ton of damage. In the original tournament, it actually was going to be a Terra Ghost Hex variant, but in the Toronto Regional Championship, it is a Terra Steel variant with Fiery Wrath, Air Slash, Snarl, and Terra Blast. I assume it's because the Terra Ghost Hex was kind of situational, while the Terra Blast, Terra Steel can be really nice to be able to hit the Flutter Mane and especially punish a lot of the Fairy Flutter Manes as well as like Fairy Raging Bolts as well. That could be very useful. While Hex could be like really cool, which was the original Victory Road version, since you did have Thunder Wave, and of course Hex is a move that doubles in power when the opponent is status. It was only with support from the Flutter Mane, and it was probably a move that was very situational. While Terra Steel, Terra Blast, I think you could use it because Flutter Mane, of course, is one of the most common Pokemon in the format, and the team doesn't have like the best ways to hit the Flutter Mane right off the bat with a super effective hit. Now, why Galarian Moltres? Galarian Moltres is a pretty interesting mon. It's really good with its high special defense, and it has some pretty good decent offense as well. It's one of the few Pokemon that can be able to take on Landorus Incarnate, which is one of the strongest Pokemon in the format, mainly because it has ground and poison coverage, which is really hard to be able to switch into, but Galarian Moltres actually has a really high special defense stat, base 125. It's really effective into the Landorus Incarnate because you don't take damage from the ground type attack, and the Sludge Bombs, normally they would do a ton of damage to the common flying types in this format like Dragonite as well as the Tornadus, but Galarian Moltres with its high special defense stat is able to stick around, which is very much appreciated, and then dish out a ton of damage using that choice specs to usually two-shot most Landorus Incarnates in the format. So it's very nice there. It's also really good into size spam like the Iron Crown combination with Entity, Hard Trickum stuff as well, that it is pretty solid against. So yeah, Galarian Moltres actually has a pretty unique role in this format, and on this team I think it makes a lot of sense because since you don't have Incineroar, you're not having that Dark type, which is a bit hard to come by in this format if you're not running Incineroar. So Galarian Moltres makes a ton of sense, I think, on this team. So hopefully it'll be able to showcase what it can do. The EV spread just really bulky and able to stick around. Good amount of special attack investment as well to get an extra stat point, and is still able to outspeed stuff like the base 135s that are neutral nature, like think of Adamant Chien-Pao or modest Flutter Manes if they aren't a speed booster after a Icy Wind or Electro Wave speed drop, and it's just able to stick around, do a lot of damage, and be pretty fast across the board. Then final Pokemon on this team used to be a Sneasler on the original team, but is going to be a Rillaboom instead. And I think just having Rillaboom is pretty nice in general because having a bit of extra ground coverage with the high horsepower and fake out support is always appreciated with this team because you can go for like fake out Thunder Wave or like fake out Electro Web. You could just go for strong attacks across the board. I think it's just really nice to have Rillaboom in general, especially with like extra terrain control, provides recovery for the team. So I do think that is a nice change. Sneasler was a bit frail and you did have that focus sash, but the Rillaboom can stick around and help out against Flutter Mane, which is also like a nice thing because you have Grassy Glide and Wood Hammer that do threaten like some pretty good damage into those Pokemon. And then this is going to be a recreation. It is a ground Terra on the Rillaboom with the Clear Amulet because you have the Assault Vest take on Raging Bolt. You have that Clear Amulet to prevent yourself from getting affected by like Intimidate from Incineroar, as well as stat drops from like opposing Icy Wind, Flutter Mane, as well as like opposing Electro, which is really nice. And then Grassy Surge, of course, summoning the grassy terrain, the Wood Hammer, Grassy Glide, really strong grass type attacks, the high horsepower, which is just really nice to be able to hit the steels and the fire types out in the format, and then fake out support. And yeah, it's interesting to see Terra Ground high horsepower, but I guess just the initial damage of being able to pick up a surprise KO is really nice. And I did notice on stream when Dorian did play that his Rillaboom was not that bulky. It didn't have much HP investment, so I assumed it was probably going to be a very fast and offensive variant. So Gonna be just 60 HP, 196 attack with a adamant nature, which gives an extra stat point in its attack, and gonna go with max speed because there are some cases where, hey, you could go for like an electro weapon, icy wind support with the Rillaboom, and they might not expect that the Rillaboom might be faster than their team, and you could get a surprise knockout. So I think that was kind of the idea of what I want to try out with this Rillaboom set. But across the board, I think the team is really solid. There are quite a few different modes that you can go. Of course, you could just lead with like Rillaboom, Fake Out, support with anything. Ogerpon can lead with the Follow Me redirection. You could lead the Arcanine to get Intimidate off and threaten some pretty powerful damage. Fluttermane, of course, for the speed control of Icy Wind, Thunder Wave. Like, this team has a lot of different leads that you could just go for. They're very flexible with how strong each of these individual Pokemon are. And you pretty much just either go for like speed control status with Fluttermane, Icy Wind, and Thunder Wave, as well as the Raging Bolt, and you go for a lot of damage with the Hisuian Arcanine, as well as the Galar Moltres, and you kind of try to set up for just being able to build up the damage by getting some pretty strong spread attacks across the board, and of course, with Thunder Wave, Icy Wind, and Electroweb, it's just really able to stop the opponent from really being able to maintain a speed advantage. And that is going to be the team. So if you do want to check out the details of the team recreation as well as the creator, they'll be linked in the description. But otherwise, let us get started and play some games. All right, we have Hisuian Lilligant, Walking Wake with Walking Wake, Raging Bolt, Fluttermane, Landers, Incarnate, and Torkoal. I was getting the names mixed up. Okay, so we have the Sun team. We got top 4 in a VR tournament. I don't know if it's going to be changed. We actually featured this team. We actually used it in the Grand Challenge, but I didn't release my paste yet, so I'm kind of curious if this is the original, which is probably really likely here. So if that's the case, it should be Heat Rock Torkoal. It would be Specs Flutter, Life Orb Lando, Assault Vest Raging Bolt, Covert Cloak Walking Wake, and the Hisuian Lilligant. Now, I think my best lead here is just Fluttermane plus Hisuian Arcanine, because I am a little bit scared of the Lilligant lead. The Lilligant lead's a little bit terrifying here, as well as their own Fluttermane. Fluttermane's a little bit concerning as well. So I think I like that combination. I think Fluttermane, Hisuian Arcanine's really strong here for the intimidating into the Lilligant, but also like it does pretty good damage into their own Fluttermane, which is also great. I think Raging Bolt should probably want to be in the back, and then thinking the Galarian Moltres or the Ogerpon, but Ogerpon in Sun isn't like that effective. I think I'm going to try out Moltres. Even though Rilla could be nice here, Grassy Glide could be a ton of damage into my opponent. I think having more damage against the Torkoal is never a bad strategy here. So let's see what my opponent's going to lead. Probably Torkoal, but I'm kind of curious on which of the mons to lead with generally. But Walking Wake Lilligant. Okay, they're playing mind games here. That's fine, as I do lead Fluttermane plus the Arcanine. Do get Intimidate off into the Lilligant, so I don't have to worry about a Solar Blade knocking out the Fluttermane if the Walking Wake switches out. I kind of like the idea of just going for a Thunder Wave Head Smash potentially. I could go for Thunder Wave Head Smash into the Walking Wake to take the knockout. Now, of course, I could throw off a Moonblast E-Speed as well. I could also go on a Raging Bolt here, because the Arcanine slot would be taking a Hydro Steam, which is also not a bad play here. I'm actually in favor of going for a Thunder Wave or an Icy Wind here. Maybe it's Icy Wind. I kind of like the idea of just drawing off an Icy Wind and going out into Raging Bolt. I actually like that a lot, because I think it covers a lot of options that they have, like a Sleep Powder, a Torkoal switch is also pretty reasonable, and I don't have to worry about close combat. Granted, I'll have to probably worry about Sleep Powder, but I don't think it's too bad. I get to switch out the Arcanine and preserve it for more rounds of Intimidate if necessary. I think I would have lived a close combat, but that's fine. But yeah, Raging Bolt's actually in a pretty good offensive position, and I get the damage into Lilligant. I'd rather have an Icy Wind chance than a Thunder Wave into a Torkoal. So let's see what is going to be coming out here. Also, all the Photosynthesis are available. Sleep Powder going to come out into the Fluttermane. I also realized for this first game, why am I wearing my headphones? I don't really wear headphones unless it's really I'm listening to music, which I don't really do when I'm recording. But yeah. We do take the sleep turn, which is not too bad. I do kind of like the idea of just drawing off some Icy Winds and Electrowebs just for the speed control and damage. They could go for Sleep Powder, but it's not like Torkoal's threatening that much damage unless they change the team. So I kind of like the idea of just drawing off an Electroweb, get that speed control. It also allows Fluttermane to outspeed the Lilligant. So they're going to go for the Solar Blade. If we wake up here with both Pokemon, it's absolutely fantastic here, but we'll see. Solar Blade going to come out. It won't knock out my Flutter because Intimidate plus I'm a Bold Nature. Yeah, as you can see, I take it really well. Unfortunately, Flutter stays asleep, but at least we get an Electro Web off into the Torkoal for some pretty good damage, as well as like good damage into Lilligant as well, thanks to special attack boost. A critical hit on the Lilligant, but that's fine. Let's see what the Torkoal went for. It went for a Yawn into the Walking Wake, or Raging Bolt. I'm getting my names mixed up. It's been a bit since I played, but that's fine. I like the idea of just drawing off a Moonblast into Flutter or into the Lilligant to take the knockout, and I think I like the idea of switching out into Arcanine to reposition. Yeah, I don't really need the Intimidate other than this Pokemon specifically into the Lilligant, so I might as well just go out into the Arcanine. Also, of course, quad resist the fire type attacks that my opponent can throw off. So ideally, we are able to get a Moonblast off into Lilligant and Wake Up, because that would be absolutely huge here, but we'll see. It is the nature of when facing Sun. Torkoal going to switch out, which is pretty nice for me. Probably back into an offensive mon like Walking Wake. Lando actually going to be revealed here. Okay. Do we hit the Moonblast? 3 turns sleep. Unlucky. But we might live Solar Blade, actually. Yeah, I think we live Solar Blade after the next round of Intimidate, so that's nice. So I should live with the Flutter, and then I could go for Icy Wind and Flare Blitz. Also, they didn't bring Flutter of their own, which is actually really interesting. Yeah, perfect. Huge survival, and now I can throw off. I could either go for Icy Wind Flare Blitz, or I could go... There's like a few plays I could go for. The fact that they don't have Flutter Mane means that Galarian Moltres is actually really good in the end, because Fiery Dance is really hard for them to stop. I think I like the idea of throwing off... Debating about this. I mean, the back end game of Moltres Raging Bolt is really good. And I mean really, really good. I could Moonblast the Lilligant since I am guaranteed to Wake Up and can go for Terra Grass here, which isn't a bad play. I like the idea of getting rid of Lilligant, and I think I will go for the Terra Grass Flare Blitz. I think they're going to probably attempt to go for like Terra Poison Lando because they're kind of in a rough spot. The Lilligant doesn't have Protect. I could see this being trying like a position of like, okay, they maybe go for a Terra with the Lando to avoid the Icy Wind knocking out, but we'll see. Okay, we do Wake Up and no Protect. So I do get to the Moonblast off, and I don't think you're likely to Sludge Bomb the Arcanine, so I should be in a really good position in the end here. Especially because I'm Jolly Arcanine and they're Modest Lando. So I am able to one-shot in the sun, and now I'm in a phenomenal position. I think I just win the game off this, which is really good here. Very nice, very nice. Okay, beautiful. And then this is Walking Wake. We also got to count the Sun turns because it is Damp Rock, so they do still have access to Photosynthesis, but it's fine here. I could switch out to Flutter Mane if I want and sack Arcanine if I expect Walking Wake to Protect. So they go for Heat Wave here, which is definitely pretty reasonable of a play that they could go for. I like the idea of... Yeah, there's probably 4 more turns of Sun unless they change the set. So I kind of like the idea of just going for a Thunder Wave into the Walking Wake and going out into Raging Bolt here. Yeah. I like this a lot, and then we try to get a free switch into our Galarian Moltres, and we start clicking Fiery Wrath, and with Choice Bucks Fiery Wrath, we'll probably put them in ESP range after. So I think this is pretty good, especially if we hit the Thunder Wave. I expect either Terra, Walking Wake, or Protect coming out in Heat Wave. We do see a Terra, so this is most likely going to be Walking Wake, and if they do Terra, I think I just... Yeah, that means they probably attack, and they didn't go for anything else, so I should have this in a winning spot here. Assuming we hit Thunder Wave. Nice. We have Thunder Wave, we guarantee the speed control, and now I don't really have to go for anything super crazy. Fire Wrath, Thunderbolt should be able to seal this here. I guess I should have paid attention to the booster energy on the Wake 2. I didn't check if it was speed or special attack. It should be special attack, but yeah, Heat Wave coming out doesn't really do too much. I'm pretty sure it's probably either a Flamethrower into the Walking Wake or they tried to KO the Flutter, but yeah. Now I'm in a guaranteed spot here where I'm going to go Galarian Moltres instead and go for the Fire Wrath plus the T-Bolt. And I think I kind of set this up really well. Once they, even though with the 3 turns of sleep that got a bit unlucky, we were able to kind of position well, especially because they weren't able to knock out my Flutter Mane, and Bold Flutter Mane really coming in huge here. So I'll go for Fire Wrath and I'll go for a T-Bolt. I'm going to target down the think I just target down at the Wake because Torkoal can't do much. I guess it could Yawn, but that's not like that big of a deal. As we don't see a Terra. As we get Fiery Wrath, look at all that damage. That's choice specs for you. And T-Bolt we outspeed because of the paralysis, and we KO the Walking Wake. And now Torkoal by itself. If this was like a Trick Room set, maybe, but not against a Sylvest Raging Bolt at near full HP. So Yawn going to come out into the Moltres, and as you can see, it wasn't really going to do much. Even if the Walking Wake protected, it wasn't even that big of a deal. I could just switch out. I could go for like a T-Bolt into the Torkoal, and then I would be able to seal the game that way. But yeah, now I could just go Arcanine, go for a T-Bolt, and the game is sealed. So very solid. I felt like Arcanine was just really good, and the fact that we are Jolly Arcanine on this build, I don't know if the original team was Jolly or if it was just standard arc, but the fact is that's kind of the downside of running Moss Lando is there are Pokemon in this speed tier that can outspeed the Lando, right? And so a lot of the Landos have been opting for modest nature because it has really good special attack, and sometimes you might not need to speed, but that just allows for some Pokemon like this Choice Band Jolly Arcanine to really come out on top. Alright, we have Urshifu, Golden Go, Roy Moon, Incineroar, Amoonguss, and Landorus Incarnate. This is probably the team that just won the Toronto Regional Championship. So it would be Specs, Fairy, Golden Go, Mystic Water, Urshifu, Breaking Swipe, Terra Poison, Roy Moon with Tailwind, Solvest, Incineroar, I believe. Actually, no, I think it was just, was it Rocky Helmet, Terra Flying Incineroar? I think it was. With Amoonguss, that should be just Citrus Berry. I don't remember the Terra type. And then Life Orb, Sandsear, Storm, Lando. So they're probably leading Golden Go. It's really good against like Flutter Mane stuff. And the team doesn't exactly have the best answers to Golden Go immediately off the bat. So I'm kind of curious on what I should lead here because this is a bit scary. I think I always lead Raging Bolt. If they lead Lando is a little bit terrifying though. Trying to think. I think I always bring Raging Bolt, and I think I always bring Ogre Pawn. I think those Pokemon are pretty good. I don't know if I should bring Flutter Mane. Flutter Mane has Icy Wind and Taunt, which is really nice for the Lando and the Amoonguss, but otherwise it doesn't really do too much for me here. I do like Raging Bolt plus Wellspring Ogre Pawn. I don't think they should lead Urshifu, but it would help. I think Rillaboom plus Arcanine in the back is pretty solid. The reason I like Arcanine is because I can switch into the Roy Moon. I have Intimidate. And I like the idea of being able to have that extreme speed pressure, which I think is pretty good. But we'll see here if it's even worth it. We're going to see Urshifu and Roy Moon. So this is a perfect lead for me here because I do lead with the Ogre Pawn and the Raging Bolt. And now I get some pretty good offensive pressure right off the bat because I do have access to both the ability to just throw off some pretty good damage into the Urshifu slot. If Urshifu decides to switch out, I could see like Lando trying to sneak in here, which would be massive if I get it. But I think the play here is just to Dragon Pulse the Roy Moon because that breaking swipe pressure is going to be a bit annoying. I also do want to try to put it in range of Extreme Speed if it doesn't commit to Terrassization. And I don't think they're going to close combat here. I kind of like the idea of going for the Ivy Cudgel into the Urshifu because it covers a Terra. I think this is a defensive Terra, but it also covers the Lando. I don't think Amoonguss is in the back here. I mean, it could be in the back, but that's fine if it is. They might try to switch in something on the grass move like Incineroar, so I think I'll just go for Ivy Cudgel here, and we'll see. The Urshifu does switch out, so this is really good for me. Perfect. Lando? Incineroar. Okay, I still get good damage into Incineroar. Granted, this could be Breaking Swipe or Protect here. If they go for Breaking Swipe, I get the Dragon Pulse off. If they don't, I'm still in a fine spot. Yeah, this is still a good spot. Like, this is also another reason why I think Arcanine is really good here. Because now I can go into Arcanine, and Arcanine's in a fantastic position. So I get an Ivy Cudgel off into the Incineroar for some decent damage. It's not like the best, but I mean it's better than a Horn Leech. And Dragon Pulse is going to be fired off into Roy Moon. It's now in Extreme Speed range, which is exactly what I would want here. Now I think I want to reposition both Pokemon actually. I like the idea of going out into Arcanine on this slot, and I kind of like the idea of going into Galarian Moltres as well. Actually, I should think about my switch order. Is this worth the switch order? Because Breaking Swipe, it doesn't matter. It's like, what do I expect the Incineroar to do? I do love that I put the Roy Moon in Extreme Speed range because the speed control... It's not like I have the fastest mons out here, but I do have Electroweb, which is nice speed control for later on. I think I like the idea of just going out into Arcanine. for the Roaring Moon, and I think I'm gonna go Moltres for the Ogerpon Wellspring, because I could see Fake Out and Raging Bolt plus another Breaking Swipe. So I think that's the best option I have here. We'll see if it works out. We do bring out the Moltres, and we will be able to bring out our Arcanine. I also am considering, do I double out the next turn? Because doubling out could be good. I could also just draw off a Rock Slide and Air Slash, which is pretty solid. They do go for Fake Out nice into what was the Arcanine, and this should be Breaking Swipe. Oh no, this is Tailwind, so this is still fine regardless. Okay. Do not mind that at all. And now I do threaten Extreme Speed, and I do threaten Rock Slide, so I wonder if they would switch out, if anything. They could switch out Roaring Moon. I mean, here's the thing. If they ever bring in Urshifu, I still have the option to switch into my Surging Strike switch-ins, which aren't terrible. I think here I'd probably want to E-Speed. I think E-Speed is really nice in Air Slash. So I think I'm going to E-Speed the Roaring Moon, and I think I'm just going to go for an Air Slash into the Incineroar slot. They retreat the Roaring Moon, so good play on their part. I wasn't sure if they were going to protect, but they did lose their booster energy as well. Urshifu going to come in that slot. Okay, I wanted the other slot, but this is okay. I still get some decent damage into Urshifu. Yeah, that's still pretty good damage. They parting shot my Moltres. So something's coming in and taking an Air Slash. This is either Lando, or this is going to be Roaring Moon getting knocked out to the Air Slash. So this is still a fine spot. And the extra damage on Urshifu is nice for Thunderclap. We're going to see Lando. Okay, this is pretty ideal because this Air Slash damage is pretty nice. Beautiful. Okay, they can't knock out my Moltres here, which is kind of massive. I kind of like the idea. Do I want to sack? Or do I want to stay in? This is either Earth Power or Sludge Bomb. I could Terrasilize if I want. Because ideally, if I want to win this game, if I cleared the Lando, I think I'm in a really good spot to win. I could Terra Grass as well. I don't mind going for the Terra Grass. I think I'm going to Terra Grass the Lando, or Terra Grass the Arcanine, Extreme Speed the Lando, and I think I'm going to Air Slash the Lando as well. I'm not too worried about Urshifu. Again, I have Raging Bolt, and I have a Ogerpon in the back. So I think it's worth committing Terrasization on the Arcanine because I don't really need to switch into the fire moves at the moment because I have Raging Bolt for that. So we will go for the Terra as Urshifu protects because they're worried about the Air Slash. So this is really good for me, especially if they went for Earth Power. This is massive. I get the Extreme Speed off into the Lando and the Sludge Bomb. Ooh, good read on their part. Really good play. They might have expected the Wellspring Ogerpon, but I think this is still pretty good for me because now I get an Air Slash off into the Lando, and I think I'm still in a great spot. Yeah. Perfect. I get rid of the Lando. Excellent. And now they are either going to go Incineroar or Roaring Moon. I think the best play is always just to go Raging Bolt here because I do threaten the Thunderclap here. If they go Incineroar, all I have to do is just Thunderbolt, Air Slash, I think, the Urshifu slot. I could also Dragon Pulse as well. Nah, Thunderbolt should knock out the Roaring Moon from the range it's at. I'm just going to Thunderbolt Air Slash. If they Terra, they're in Thunderclap range, so it's not like the biggest deal in the world. They can't really damage these Pokemon. I mean, Close Combat and Fake Out could maybe knock out the Raging Bolt, but then I have Moltres plus the Wellspring versus Incineroar and the Roaring Moon, and I think it's fine because it's Terra Flying and Terra Poison, which aren't like important typings here. The Urshifu, I'm just not sure about its Terra. I don't think it can knock out Galarian Moltres even if it's Terra Water, so that's fine by me. Is this Terra Steel? Urshifu Terras. Okay, Terra Fire, which doesn't really change anything unless maybe it survives a Moltres attack, but then it's in Thunderclap range, so it's, again, it's still not like too bad. They go for the Close Combat into Bolt. Doesn't knock out. And they also lowered their defenses, so Air Slash probably KOs with Choice Specs, I imagine. They go for a knockoff double up, okay. Okay, maybe if I don't KO, but I'm like pretty confident I KO. I guess they could be going for the miss too, because they could go for this miss. Nice. Beautiful. And that should seal the game. Excellent. Because now I should have Ivy Cudgel Air Slash into Incineroar, and that should take the knockout. Tailwind also expired, so this Ogerpon is very defensive. So I should be able to always get an Ivy Cudgel plus an Air Slash off into the Incineroar and take the win. And then, unless I just miss a bunch of Air Slashes over and over again, I'm like pretty confident I'll be able to take the win. So go for Ivy Cudgel into the Incineroar, go for the Air Slash as well into the Incineroar. The Roaring Moon can protect. They could be hoping that I go for a throw and maybe like double up into Roaring Moon as they protect, and then Incineroar maybe like Flare Blitz crits or burns me, which I'm not risking. So I always go for the double up into Incin to take the knockout, because I should knock out with Ivy Cudgel, especially if they don't Breaking Swipe. And if they Breaking Swipe, I get the Air Slash Ivy Cudgel. They are hoping for me targeting the Roaring Moon and doing something with the Incineroar, so that makes sense. I do go for the Ivy Cudgel into the Incineroar, and it will take the knockout, especially with no Intimidate and no Breaking Swipe attack drop. So beautiful. Incineroar goes down, and we will go for the Air Slash into the Roaring Moon, and the Roaring Moon will protect itself, but we are in fantastic shape right now, because now we can just go for an Ivy Cudgel, and we can go for an Air Slash and guarantee the win. Or not guarantee, again, we could miss a bunch of Air Slashes, but ideally we don't miss that many Air Slashes, you know? Ideally we just don't miss that many Air Slashes, and we do take the win. Fantastic. Okay, awesome. Felt like I played a pretty good offensive one. I'm kind of surprised they let Urshifu into my team. I don't think Urshifu's like incredible, and I'm really surprised they left Golden Go behind, but maybe they were just scared of like, okay, I'm not gonna, maybe I don't have the Terra Fairy terrestrialization that I should go for. But yeah, the fact, I think Lando was still really strong, so no surprise to see that being brought. Incineroar made sense when I had like a bunch of physical attackers, Rillaboom, Wellspring Ogerpon, and the Hisuian Arcanine that could be threatening. But yeah, interesting to see the Urshifu, I think. But overall, luckily I brought good answers to Urshifu that it couldn't really do too much to me, and that I was just able to put on the pressure, especially like even though they got me on the Sludge Bomb read, I didn't really need my terrestrialization in the game because the terrestrialization didn't do much. So definitely acceptable boundaries there. Wait, is this just a rematch against the first opponent? I think it is. Okay, we have Landorus, Fluttermane, Raging Bolt, Hisuian Lilligant, the Walking Awaken, Torkoal once again. Okay, since this is kind of like a best of 3 angle, I suppose I should be... I mean, I don't think my game plan was bad. Like, what do they do to stop this? I don't think they have much that immediately stops this. So I think I'm just doing Ice Fluttermane plus Arcanine again. It's just such a strong lead, I think, into this kind of team. And then what do I want in the back? Probably Raging Bolt, Galarian Moltres again. It's just like too good. Like I could see maybe Rillaboom being brought, but I don't think it's necessary. They might lead Torkoal plus the Lilligant this time around, but that's fine if they do. I get to draw off like Rock Slides with Choice Band, plus they have to hit Sleep Powder, because it doesn't look like Helping Hand. Solar Blade knocks out my Fluttermane at -1, so that should be fine here. What else do I need to think about in this matchup? I mean, adjustments, like what can they do here? Because they don't exactly have like something super safe. They do have access to Power Gem Fluttermane, I suppose, and that's also another thing I can consider. The question is, do I switch out my Arcanine into the Raging Bolt, or do I go for terrestrialization with the Arcanine if I'm anticipating that? Because they could also go for Dazzling Gleam, though. I think if they do any play, it should be either, like if they lead Torkoal, Fluttermane, they should Helping Hand Moonblast or Helping Hand Power Gem. Okay, we see Raging Bolt Lando, which is fine. Okay. I don't mind this spot as long as they don't go for Sandsear immediately. I like the idea of just going for Icy Wind Head Smash, because I think that knocks out the Raging Bolt. I actually do think that knocks out the Raging Bolt. I could go for Moonblast as well. Moonblast isn't a terrible play. If I expect Lando to protect, I just Moonblast here. I do kind of like the idea of just going for the Icy Window. Because do I expect a Terra? I kind of don't. You know what? No, I'm going to throw off a Moonblast Head Smash. I think it's the best play if I'm committing to the land of probably protecting this turn. And I don't think it's too bad for me, even if I get this play wrong. We see a Terra. This is probably Raging Bolt, so I think I did make the best play possible here. Yeah. Into Electric? Or Fairy. I forgot which one of the Terras it is. Actually, is that new? I thought it was Electric, but I could be wrong here. This should be Land of Protect then? Yeah, because they don't want to take Icy Wind Rock Slide because they would go down to it. And if we land at 80%, we just guarantee to win. I wasn't sure they were going to Terra. Wow, that Moonblast did a lot less than I thought. Well, we missed the Head Smash. Unfortunate. Okay. Oh, they went for T-Bolt though. This is nowhere near enough. Yeah. Interesting. This is a free icy wind here. I think I just go for head smash. I think I just go for head smash and Raging Bolt because I want to get rid of Raging Bolt more than Lando because with that icy wind, the speed drop is pretty important. And then I also still have Galarian Moltres in the back, so it's not like too bad. I think getting rid of Raging Bolt's more important. Well, unless we miss double head smash, and that's kind of a risk of using this this set. Okay, unlucky. I don't think I can win anymore because I can't beat the Raging Bolt. Really? Really, Arcanine? 2? Like, missing 1 is, like, okay, because I got the read right, but missing 2 was basically game losing. Can I win here? Maybe. The chances are so bad, but we'll try it. Thunder Wave, Fire Wrath, I think was my play. It dodges the Thunderclaps, and we'll see how it goes. We do see a swap here from the Lando into Torkoal. Okay. That gets Photosynthesis to the Bolt. That's fair. I gotta be cautious too. I think I need to say Flutter Mane most likely. They go for Thunderclap into the Flutter actually. I'm kind of surprised I made that play, but this works out. I get the Thunder Wave off into the Bolt and I get a Fire Wrath off. So this isn't terrible. I would have probably preferred Terra Steel Terra Blast here for the damage, but I guess this isn't awful. Yeah, that's not awful damage. Okay. I'm trying to figure out how to position. Because I'm pretty sure that Helping Hand Thunderclap can knock out Galarian Moltres here. And if I lose Galarian Moltres, that's really bad. I think I gotta call the target too. I think I gotta call the target. Actually, no. I think I can't afford to Terra here. Because if I Terra, I lose to Lando. I think I'm going to taunt the Raging Bolt and Fire Wrath. Okay, wait. They didn't Thunderclap. So I could get a Flinch or Para, which is huge here. They also didn't Helping Hand. So goodbye, Torkoal. This is actually huge. Because getting that... If I get a Para Flinch, I'm in a really decent spot. Not the best spot, but not the worst. Oh, come on. Like, oh my goodness. This game really is something, man. This game is really something. Can I win? I need Raging Bolt to get paralyzed. Oh, they brought Lilligant in. Okay. No, I lose. They Solar Blade here, and I guarantee lose. Yes. Man. Yeah, let's say like Sleep Powder to Raging Bolt and miss, and then they go for like Thunderclap and a Flutter. I guess like I would go for like RNG chance of winning the game, but it's like really unlikely I win here. Yeah, I think I go for T-Bolt and a Raging Bolt and... Wait, what? They wait. They might have just drew. What? Why did they go Lando here? Wait, what is this play? Why didn't they... What? Oh my goodness. They gave me a win chance. They gave me a win con. Huh? Because I can... What was that play? Why didn't they just Solar Blade my Flutter? Maybe they were expecting Protect, but even then, what? Okay. I go for Icy Wind Thunderclap, or... I gotta read if Lando protects here. Because if Lando doesn't protect, Icy Wind's the play. If they protect, it's better to go for Taunt or Thunder Wave. I think I Thunderclap Icy here. But... Okay, no protect. I just gotta land Icy, and I think I win, because I'm pretty sure Raging Bolt will be able to solo. Well, no, I could still lose, because the freaking Lilligant can still cheese me. Please hit Icy. Okay, we hit Icy. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. I don't get why you would switch into Lando there, and I don't get why they allowed me to get so much damage, but you know what? We take it. Now they have to Solar Blade my Flutter. If they don't Solar Blade my Flutter, they instantly lose. And they have to get like multiple. Why'd you? Okay, why are you sleep powdering? If you're targeting the Flutter slot, why wouldn't you Solar Blade there? Okay, no. I need now. Their odds are even worse now because the last time they just had to sleep out. They just had to Solar Blade, knock out my Flutter, and then go for multiple sleeps into close combat. Probably two-shotting my Bolt, I imagine. Now I think they guarantee lose here because now I just burned the sleep turns. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, battle gonna be forfeited. Did they throw that on purpose after seeing like all the RNG? Like, don't do that if you play in the ladder toys. But yeah, because that's the game of Pokemon. You know, it's like we have a bunch of inaccurate moves on this team. We have Rock Slide, we have Head Smash, we have Thunder Wave, we have Icy. Kind of just the nature of the game. Like the only reason I was able to get back in the game is because they sent in Lilligant and then switched it up for some reason, and I'm trying to figure out why. You could Solar Blade there, you could Sleep Powder there. I don't get why you would send out Lilligant just to switch it out. I don't. Alright, looks like we're playing another game against, I guess maybe I should probably wait like a minute or two. I mean, I waited a decent amount, like 30 seconds, but I actually don't know how many players are competing in this ladder tournament. Okay. Is there anything different between Fluttermane and Arcanine? I don't think so. Like, the game plan overall was still really solid, and assuming I hit my move, I would have been in a really good spot because I'm pretty sure Moonblast into Head Smash would have OHKO'd the Raging Bolt. So yeah, I think we're just gonna go with Arcanine Flutter again, and then I still think it's Raging Bolt plus Moltres. Like, what else was I gonna really bring? I don't think the Wellspring could be like a decent one to avoid the Sleep Powder, but we take so much damage from Solar Blade. It's not really that great in the Lilligant. I still think this is still the optimal bring here. We're gonna see Torkoal Lilligant. Okay, this is what I've been expecting for a bit here, but yeah. No reason to Moonblast, I think. It's just to go for... Well, they could Helping Hand KO my Arcanine here, so maybe it's better to go for Icy Wind, Rock Slide. They're probably just going to Sleep Powder or Eruption here, I imagine. Or not Eruption, maybe Heat Wave. It's still in my best interest to go for Icy Wind. I don't need Arcanine to win the game, so I think I just go for a Rock Slide here. They do go for Helping Hand, so this is Helping Hand close combat most likely because Solar Blade doesn't take the knockout on Flutter. Yeah, but that's fine because I get the speed drop into the Lilligant and then I get a free switch to Raging Bolt, so this isn't an awful position. Yeah, like I don't think this position is that bad. Yeah, good damage to the Lilligant. It's going to be a 2-shot. I guess do I want to go Galarian Moltres or do I want to go Raging Bolt? I think I always go Raging Bolt because it's more offensive. I might be willing to just drop a Draco... Wait, I have Dragon Pulse or do I have Draco Meteor? I always forget. I have Dragon Pulse, okay. Terra-wise, I don't need Terra on Flutter. And if I get rid of Torkoal, I don't really need my Dragon typing in this. I think I just go for an Icy Wind, and I think I go for Terra Electric T-Bolt. And the reason I do this is to try and ensure the Torkoal knockout. I could pressure the Lilligant slot potentially with a double up, but I have no idea which Pokemon they would switch into. They could switch... Oh, or if they don't switch, I might be getting a double knockout here, which isn't bad for me either. Okay. We get the Terra Electric. We also know it's Modest Lando in the back, or Modest Lando that they have on their team. So if they have Lando in the back, I can go for a potential Icy Wind Dragon Pulse and knock out the Lando. Because my Raging Bolt on... Actually, my Raging Bolt on this team is actually really fast. It should outspeed Lando after Icy Wind. So here comes Terra Electric T-Bolt, which with Photosynthesis, I imagine this KOs Torkoal. Yeah. Terra Electric, Photosynthesis. Yeah, I just didn't think Torkoal had a chance. Okay. And now we see the back two. Is it Flutter this time? Like, are we going to see a Fluttermane? Landorus? Or is it Walking Wake? Walking Wake is fine. Yeah, it's Walking Wake. So I think I'm in a really good position. Because I really, really like my end game for my Galarian Moltres. And they still can't knock out the Flutter. I think my best play is just to Icy Wind. And it's probably just a T-Bolt the Walking Wake. Yeah, I like the idea of T-Bolting the Walking Wake. They're going to Terra, probably Terra Poison, I imagine here. They could Terra the Walking Wake too, but they go for Terra Poison, which is fine. Because if I KO the Walking Wake here with Icy Wind into Thunderbolt, I'm in a good spot. And if they go for Protect Walking Wake, it's not too bad for me either. But they don't, so I am able to get a Icy Wind off. Is it Covert Cloak Walking Wake? It is Covert Cloak Walking Wake. Hydro Steam comes out. It's Covert Cloak, so it doesn't do enough. Yep. And I should be faster with Raging Bolt. Yep, I am. Get a T-Bolt off. I cover Terrassization with Walking Wake this way. Get a bunch of damage off. KOs the Walking Wake. There we go. And then Lando goes for Earth Power, I assume. Sludge Bomb into Flutter? Yeah. But now they guarantee lose the game because now I have T-Bolt and Fire Raft. So, yeah, this is kind of what I expected in like a Lilligant Torkoal lead here. And it worked out pretty well because I was able to put on a pretty good amount of offense because even though like I had to trade my Arcanine turn 1, I was positioned well because they didn't have a switch for Icy Wind. Like as you saw, nothing really switched into Icy Wind plus an attack from Raging Bolt. They sacked both and then I was just in a really good spot from there. So now we just go for T-Bolt and Fire Raft and that will be the game here. Also, they did Earth Power the Raging Bolt. I do survive, I believe, unless they change the spread to maybe be Moss Max. But I think Assault Vest Raging Bolt should easily survive the Earth Power. Yeah, I should easily live one Earth Power. So they would need a crit there anyway. So we are able to take out the Lando, and that will be a good game. So was able to, I think, kind of just take the knockouts so quickly on my opponent. And then because they had Frailmons and I had Speed Control still around, I was able to get that Icy Wind off, was able to land a K on the Walking Wake, just taking really quick knockouts before they could knock out my Pokemon. You can't be serious. 4 times? I waited like 4 minutes, by the way. I went up, got some water, and we're playing again? Maybe no one really wants to play Reg F. Let's do Flutter Mane, Arcanine, Raging Bolt, Galarian Moltres. And it does make me question, so I guess, you know, I already talked about how this matchup goes and I really haven't seen a reason to change and deviate from what I'm going for here. I might as well ask the question since I'm here because this is also another reason why I kind of taken a bit of a break, if you have been a regular watcher for the channel, is how interested are people still in watching Regulation F, because obviously we're all waiting for champions. Because right now, it doesn't seem like too many people are even playing here. We're going to see Hisuian Lilligant Torkoal here, and we'll see how this goes. I like the idea of, realistically, it's fine for me to trade again. Like, I don't see a problem with just going for Icy Wind and Rock Slide. If they want to go for the Helping Hand, close combat play, that's fine. They might go for the Sleep Powder play, which is acceptable. So I'm going to Icy Wind and Rock Slide. I think they are going to make the Sleep Powder play anyway. So I think this is probably better. They should Sleep Powder my Flutter Mane most likely. And go for a Heat Wave, I think. And then they could deviate quite a bit here. Then it could be like Solar Blade into the Flutter with Helping Hands. There's like a few ways to deviate from this. Let's see. It really depends on what they do here. Like, we could have a different couple turns. Yeah, they Sleep Powder immediately. That's what I expected. Okay. I should still break a Sash and do a ton of damage to the Torkoal, which is still pleasant. We might be playing some sleep turns, but that's fine. Ideally, we hit both Rock Slides here, though. Nice. Flinch would be nice. Okay, Eruption, but that doesn't do that much damage. Yeah. Okay, now I think I could just Moonblast the Lilligant, and I'm going to go out into Raging Bolt. The original version of this team had Stellar Terra Lilligant, so I'm actually going to save my Arcanine, because it's still good against Lando, and I like the idea of going Raging Bolt here, because I do get the option to go for the Wake Up with Flutter here, and save the Intimidate, as well as the Arcanine for the Lando later. We see Helping Hand, so this is either Close Combat or Solar Blade. I'm not sure which one we'll see. I think both are pretty reasonable here. They go for the Close Combat, which is fine. As you see, Raging Bolt takes that extremely well. Are we going to wake up with the Flutter? We do not wake up with the Flutter. Okay. I mean, my best play here is just to go for a Moonblast into the Lilligant and Dragon Pulse the Lilligant as well. Because Lilligant is the most offensive threat here. I think the only... Yeah, I think this is still fine. They switch out to Torkoal, which is interesting. So no Helping Hands will come out here. They're going to go hard in a Lando. Okay. And they Solar Blade. But the Flutter Mane survives this. So I am going to be able to knock out the Lilligant, which is nice. I do survive with the Intimidate. Yeah. And we do wake up, so we get a free Moonblast into a free Dragon Pulse. So this is really, really nice here. So we are able to knock out Lilligant, which is fantastic. Dragon Pulse is able to knock out the... Or not knock out the Lando, but this should do 60, 70%. It's plus its Pearl Simpson's special attack boost. Yeah. Good damage. And what's coming in next? Now it's in range of Rock Slide. We're going to see Walking Wake. Okay, perfect. Game is not over, but we have some pretty good tools here. I could go for Icy Wind or I could go for Thunder Wave. I like the idea of... Kind of depends. I kind of like the idea of Thunder Waving the Walking Wake here and swapping out into the Moltres. Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair play. Covers Earth Power. They switch out the Lando too, which is fantastic. I think that will help me secure the game as Torkoal comes in. If I land a Thunder Wave into the Walking Wake, I just Fire Wrath, win the game. Yeah. So I'm very happy about this position. Moltres going to come in. Because it covered Earth Power, it covered Draco Meteor. Like, Moltres was going to survive. I think keeping the Raging Bolt still around was still pretty nice. They do Terra. I wasn't sure if the Lando was going to attack because they might have feared the Icy Wind. I didn't think they were going to Terra the Lando. I think it was super unlikely. So this ends up working out pretty well. Yep. Big Thunder Wave, and that should be the game. Perfect. Now we go for Fire Wrath and a Thunderbolt. And they don't even get the attack off, which is unfortunate, but that's how it goes sometimes. We go for... I don't think there's a reason to say Flutter here. I guess there is. Yeah, I say Flutter. I go Raging Bolt. Actually, no. No. I just draw off the Moonblast. And I draw off a Fire Wrath. Yeah. Because the only thing I need to do is just get a free switch into something that threatens the Lando. So this is pretty fine. I go for Moonblast, Fire Wrath. I can't flinch the Walking Wake, but paralysis can be a thing. If they knock out my Flutter Mane, I get a free switch to Arcanine. I click Extreme Speed into the Lando, and I click Fire Wrath. And if they decide, hey, I'm not going to target the Flutter Mane, Moonblast should take the knockout into the Lando at the range it's at, and then Fire Wrath will KO the Walking Wake from there, and I outspeed with both, so perfect. Yeah, I go for Moonblast, and I guess I go for Terra Fairy Moon. Actually, no. Regular Moonblast definitely KOs, and even if I don't get the KO, I still win the game because Raging Bolt, Extreme Speed, Thunderclap will be able to win. Yeah, so Fire Wrath, Moonblast, battle gonna be forfeited. They realize that too, and that is like... Is that the fourth time? I've lost count. Please give me a different matchup. I want to showcase more of this team. I am showcasing the Galarian Moltres and how effective it is. But I would like to also showcase how the team could do against potential other matchups as well, hopefully. So we'll see. Because I know there's like more than me and this other person, Link, that is playing this. Because I've been checking the rankings. And definitely, obviously, the points have differed from my opponent as well. From when I'm checking it as well. So... there's definitely more than just 2 people playing this. Oh my goodness, we're playing... we're playing a different person, but it's the same... Oh my... You can't be serious. Okay. Don't bring Sun next time you play a ladder tour for me. We're doing Flutter Mane. Well, the thing is, I'm probably going to host a few more ladder tournaments before this video comes out, so... Flutter Mane, Hisuian Arcanine, Raging Bolt, Galarian Moltres. I wish I could do more explanation into different things that this team could do, but I mean, it is what it is. I still think the best lead is Flutter Arcanine by far. Like, were there other leads I could potentially? Sure, I could lead Raging Bolt, but I think in a game 1 scenario, I think just scouting with Flutter plus Hisuian Arcanine. Like, if I expect them to lead the Lilligant plus the Torkoal, I could lead like Raging Bolt instead, which is pretty effective here, and save the Flutter in the back, but we'll see. Where are they leading? Torkoal Lilligant, okay. So kind of curious if they're going to go for the Helping Hand plan or if they're going to go for the Helping Hand Close Combat or the Sleep Powder. If they go for Solar Blade, that's fine because I'm Bolt Flutter. I'm going to just go for an Icy Wind plus a Rock Slide here. I'm kind of curious if they brought anything different in the back. I still think Flutter Mane's pretty good against me in general, so I got to be a bit cautious if my opponent brings it. But yeah, I'm just going to Icy Wind and I'm just going to Rock Slide. Not really too much anything to say here. I need the damage and I kind of need the momentum. I wonder if they Heat Wave, I'm in range of Solar Blade. I feel like the answer is no, but it would be really close based off the damage I think previously. So we'll see. I am going to go for Rock Slide to break Sash. We're going to see Torkoal actually immediately hard retreat. So what's coming in? Flutter Mane. Okay, so they actually did bring Flutter Mane, which is actually pretty important. I'm guessing they're Sleep Powdering my Flutter Mane, or are they Sleep Powdering my Arcanine? They went for Stellar Terra. So they're going for Solar Blades with Stellar, doesn't knock out Flutter. Oh, wait, I think they're my version, because this Ghost was my version. Okay. So is this Close Combat or is this Sleep Powder? They go for Sleep Powder into my Flutter. Unlucky. Okay, but that's fine. Okay. And I do get a Rock Slide off here. Yeah, that's solid damage. This is gonna be a bit tricky now. I think I might have to Terra with these Pokemon. I think I do. I'm pretty sure I will have to Terra here with my Flutter so I don't go down to Shadow Ball. I live Shadow Ball. I live Close Combat plus from the Lilligant. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I live Close Combat from the Lilligant because it's not Stellar Terra. I need to make sure Flutter Mane lives a turn here. I think I just move. Actually, no. I think I just Moonblast the Lilligant and I Rock Slide. The reason is I think I'd rather get rid of the Lilligant here if possible, because then I could do attacks into the Flutter itself with Thunderclap. I think boosted Thunderclap should knock out the Flutter on their side, but we'll see. They go for Close Combat, which is fine. I do survive like I thought I would. But did they go for Dazzling Gleam or did they go for something else? They went for Shadow Ball. Okay, so this is perfect. Actually, I do get a double knockout with Arcanine, so I can actually afford to stay asleep with Flutter here. Which I do, so luckily Arcanine should be able to get the KO with Rock Slide. Yes, beautiful. I double KO with both. They use their Terra, and now I'm in a really good spot. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. If the back... What could you have in the back? I know it's Torkoal. It's either Walking Wake, Lando, or Raging Bolt. All Pokemon are fine for me to beat. Landorus, okay. So I'm kind of curious. Well, are they my version with the Scarf Lando? I guess we'll find out, right? If they're Scarf Lando, they lose to Moltres. I think my play is just to go for a Moonblast into the Lando slot, and I think it's just go hard into Galarian Moltres, because I don't think they're gonna Heat Wave. Actually, no, it's probably just go it's going Raging Bolt, because I don't need Raging Bolt to win the game. Yeah, I don't need Raging Bolt to win the game. This could be Helping Hand Sands here from the Torkoal, so I think this is fine. And if they just go for Sansear Heat Wave, I'm in a fine position. This is assuming they took my Grand Challenge version of this team and made it a different variant. Here comes the Moonblast into the Lando. Good damage. Special attack drop's nice, but not necessary. Earth Power, that's fine. It looks like it's Life Orb, I'm pretty sure. Oh, and I survive with Flutter. Okay. I get burned, but okay. Don't need Flutter. I mean, I would have just secured with probably Moonblast T-Bolt, but this is fun as well. Now I just go out into my Galarian Moltres, I think. Yeah, Galarian Moltres is fine. Galarian Moltres, just click Fiery Dance or Fiery Wrap plus Thunderbolt into the Torkoal. Or I could go for Thunderclap. Nah, I just Thunderbolt. Yeah, because if the Lando attacks, it goes down, and then Arcanine plus Galarian Moltres should probably have the win. They go for Earth Power, take the knockout on Raging Bolt. Because the thing is, this is an offensive Torkoal, so it shouldn't have that much pressure against me. Fire F. I crit the Lando, but doesn't matter because I'm Specs. Extreme Speed doesn't KO. I'm curious if it's better to go for Extreme Speed or Rock Slide. They go for Yawn here, right? No, they go for Heat Wave. Okay, so they guarantee lose. Wait, the Heat Wave did more than I thought, but maybe it's because it's just single target and Sun, and maybe I'm underestimating Torkoal a bit and overestimating Galarian Moltres' Spadef, but I think this is still fine, regardless. Flare Blitz actually might knock out the Torkoal. I'm actually kind of curious. I think I go for it anyway, because like I secured a game with Fire Wrap, so I might as well just find out if this is able to knock out, which I think it does. Yeah, with Choice Band, yeah. Even though Torkoal has a good defense, Flare Blitz was a win anyway. Okay, perfect. Okay. A bit scarier. I think Flutter is a little bit more terrifying. I do think the option with Power Gem and of course the Fairy coverage is just stronger into what I would bring. But yeah, I still think the four were pretty good overall. And as long as I didn't get like super bad RNG, felt good. Like as long as they didn't like Flutter Dazzle immediately. Also, it was interesting to see them go for the Terra Ghost immediately, I think, with the Lilligant. I think they were trying to catch maybe like Extreme Speed from the Arcanine. But Hisuian Lilligant's faster than Speed Booster Flutter anyway, so I don't think it would have helped. I don't think it really changed anything because like if they're Sleep Powdering the Flutter main, then I think the Terra Ghost was not necessary. But because they Terra Ghosted, they were 2-shot by the Rock Slide. They didn't KO the Arcanine. Then Rock Slide was able to finish them off. And yeah, I think that was a pretty big deal because once I was able to survive the attacks, and again, I'm the one who's being proactive with the damage. They're the ones hoping that my Flutter stays asleep. Luckily, they didn't get any knockouts, and then I was just able to take KOs, which is kind of the big thing about that Sun team is if you're not taking knockouts or if you don't have a really good way of revenge KOing in the end, then it's pretty hard because the team again has a lot of frail tools on their side. But if you want to see more of that team, I do have a video about it on the Grand Challenge, and we might be facing it for the entire video, so we'll see how it goes. All right, we have a non-Sun team. It's a Christmas miracle in January with Roaring Moon, Incineroar, Glamora, Ogerpon, Wellspring, Dondozo, and Tatsugiri. Okay, Dondozo Tatsugiri is a bit strange here. Also, the Glim is a bit concerning because I don't have the best matchup against Glim. Yeah, the answers to Glim are pretty rough, but their Raging Bolt immediate answers aren't exactly that great. Kind of curious. Okay, I think Raging Bolts... do I bring the Galarian Moltres? I feel like Flutter isn't a mon I should bring here. It does give me T-Wave pressure, which is nice, but otherwise I don't think it's necessary. But do I bring the Rilla is a good question. Because Rilla is only really good against the Dozo Giri, and it's not even that great if they just Terra Grass. Wellspring's better. I think I like the idea. I think I need offense against the Dondozo, so I think I need Galarian Moltres. I think I'm just going to lead Raging Bolt Arcanine, because I want to intimidate immediately if the Dozo leads, and if not, like a good lead into Roaring Moon regardless. I think Galarian Moltres and Ogerpon in the back, because I think Wellspring is better than the Rillaboom here to pressure, or at least like kind of wall the Dozo with the help of Intimidate from Arcanine, but we'll see. Incineroar, Glamora. Okay, so that's not like a surprising lead here versus Arcanine plus the Raging Bolt. I do get an Intimidate off. I don't have a good Meteor Beam switch, which is also concerning. Not a great lead spot, but granted, I don't think it's unwinnable, I say. I think here I'm just going to go for a T-Bolt into the Glim. For the damage, they're not going to Terra here with the Glim. I think my best play is to probably just go out into Ogerpon on a potential Meteor Beam here, or Earth Power into the Arcanine. I also get IV Cudgel Pressure. They could fake out my Raging Bolt, but I guess that's fine. They probably are faking my Raging Bolt. They could Meteor Beam double up that slot, which is also acceptable, but we'll see. They do go for the fake out. Meteor Beam comes out. Who is this into? Is this Arcanine or is this the Raging Bolt. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Raging Bolt, but we'll see. Yeah, it is Raging Bolt. Okay. Not super ideal. Granted, they can't... Okay, I could see Incineroar switching out to Dondozo to avoid the Ivy Cudgel, but I guess the question is, what does the Glim do? Does it click Earth Power, or does it decide to attack my Ogerpon? Because they kind of want to get rid of my Ogerpon, I feel. This is going to be a bit of a hard choice, because, yeah, again, I don't think that the Dondozo matchup's, like, easy. I think I go for Dragon Pulse Spiky Shield. Oh, they stay in, which is surprising. Okay. They went for Earth Power. Okay. I don't think this is too... Well, this is not great. This is not great. They go for U-turn. Okay, they're Assault Vest. Maybe I can win this. It's looking really bad, though. I think I go Galarian Moltres, and I think I have to Fiery Wrath the Glim. And I have to Terra Cudgel the Incin and take the knockout. Yeah. Because I can't afford Sludge Bomb knockout the Ogerpon here. Which stinks, because then I won't have access to the Water Absorb for Dondozo. Yeah, Glimdozo seems really rough here. Maybe I should have Thunderclapped the Glamora. Thunderclap the Glamora might have been better, because I think if I Thunderclap the Glamora, I might have put it in Fire Wrath range from my Galarian Moltres after knocking out the Incin. So I think that was probably a play that I should have done looking back at it. Because if I'm able to take a double knockout here, it might have been possible. Granted, I could still crit the Glim. I don't even know if the crit would knock out, but that is an option I did have. Okay, we bring the Ivy Cudgel. We're also faster than the Glim, so this is not like a max speed Glim. Because this Ogerpon doesn't have much speed at all. That's why I've been playing scared. Okay. And Fire Wrath. We're faster than the Glim of our Moltres? Oh, I should have Thunderclapped earlier. No flinch, which would have been really good here. That's a really bad poison. Okay, I think we are losing. Unless it's Roaring Moon back. But yeah, Dondozo comes in. That's not like super shocking here. Yeah, this is rough. I think I go Arcanine here, and I think I just Horn Leech or Ivy Cudgel. There's a mind game between the Dondozo protecting and them attacking, and I gotta get it right, but realistically both plays are pretty reasonable here, I think. Is there one that stands out more? Yeah, let's just go for the Glim. Actually, no, I think I should target Dondozo with Horn Leech. I get Intimidate off into the Dondozo. Yeah, I should target the Dondozo. Oh, yeah, I thought about it a bit more, because I could follow me Fire Wrath theoretically, so it was better to always go for the Horn Leech and the Dondozo. And they haven't Terra'd yet. Maybe they Terra now, but even then, I think I still lose. And this could be EQ, which is even the worst part of it. Although I think they might just order up here, but we'll see. Yeah, they went for the Terra here. What Terra are you? At least we get this information out of it. Oh, it's Fairy Terra. Okay, so Galarian Moltres might not even be the call then, since Galarian Moltres can't even really touch a Dondozo without Air Slash. Yeah, and they Wave Crash my Galarian Moltres slot, but that makes sense. Yeah, that's like a pretty fair play. Do I just have to let the T-Spikes go up? I guess I do. I guess like next time I do have to let the T-Spikes just go up. If you're asking if there's a chance, unless this Dozo's really slow and they let me Ivy Cudgel into Air Slash flinch it, Yeah, this is not winnable. And even then, I don't even think it's winnable because I don't think I can even beat the Glim in the back. Also, I'm pretty sure we saw the Dozo outspeed my Ogerpon anyway, and it's like you don't need that much speed to outspeed Ogerpon, so yeah. This is a rough one. This is a rough matchup. Especially with Instant Intimidate as well. Because even Ogerpon doesn't probably KO the Glim unless I Terra immediately, even if I lead it. There's a dog barking. I don't know if you can hear it with the new mic. My old mic, you probably couldn't hear it, but there is a dog, like, it's loud as heck. Okay. I mean, I still just go for the attacks. I want to see maybe if I could live with Wave Crash, but yep. Order up into Ogerpon. Even if I Spike Shield, it doesn't matter because they just protect on the final turn. I want to see how much Air Slash does. Like, does this even do decent damage? Yeah, it doesn't do that much damage. Okay. So I don't think this plan was worth it. I think maybe I need Flutter then if I was to play this again. I think Flutter would be better. Yeah. It's a rough one. I think it's a rough one. I'm trying to think of like what else I could really do. And even then, like, it just looks really tough because the team doesn't have... Like, it has grass types, but they just Terra and then the Glim T-Spikes just stalls it out. Alright, I was hoping to get the other Dondozo player, but Dondozo Tatsugiri, Galarian Weezing, Urshifu, Dragonite, Chien-Pao. I think this team has actually done well in Regulation F Part 2. I forgot which tournament it was. I think it did well. I think this matchup, well, I think Glim is definitely a lot tougher. I think this matchup is more reasonable to deal with. Though I still don't really like the looks of it really, but it's playable, I think. Okay, what do I want to go with here? I think I want to lead Flutter immediately because I do have taunt access onto the Galarian Weezing, which is actually kind of big. I like the taunt option. Am I leading Flutter? Which of the types do I want here? Am I bringing Rilla? I don't think Rilla's that great here. I think Flutter, Wellspring isn't bad. I could also do Flutter, Raging Bolt, but I don't want Raging Bolt to take too much damage immediately. I kind of need damage into the Weezing because I do kind of lack the immediate damage pressure into the Weezing. I think Flutter plus Galarian Moltres isn't too bad because I have offensive pressure against the Urshifu, which doesn't seem terrible. I think Wellspring in the back and then have Arcanine, or not Arcanine, Raging Bolt is the last. I'm not bringing Arcanine, which might be kind of bad because I don't have Intimidate, but I think I need Redirection. Oh, but Earthquake is bad. Maybe I should have brought Arcanine actually, now that I think about it. Urshifu Chien-Pao, no Weezing mode. Okay, I thought the Weezing was coming in, but I don't think this is awful. Yeah, no, this is not terrible. I do lead the Flutter and the Moltres here. Granted, is it Dondozo back or is it going to be Dragonite in the back? Okay. Bit of a weird spot. Because they just get an Ice move off here. It's probably not Weezing in the back, I think. It could be Weezing D-Knight, I suppose, but I think it's more likely Dondozo Tatsu. I do threaten the Moonblast. They should know that. I don't know. It could be... It's probably Scarf Urshifu and Sash Chien-Pao. I like the idea of just Moonblasting, getting the damage in Chien-Pao and going out in Ogerpon. They retreat Urshifu, so that's actually really good for me. Is this Dozo? No, Weezing. Oh, wait. They didn't bring Dozo. Huh, I really wish I brought Arcanine then. If I brought Arcanine in the back, this would be so nice. Okay, but I don't need Wellspring nearly as much then, I think. I live any attack from a POW, even if it's Life Orb, so that's fine. They actually go for Terra, which is... Is this Stellar Terra Life Orb? This is Stellar Terra Life Orb. That's probably like the one thing that opens a Flutter. It is Stellar. Let's see. Ice Spinner into who? Flutter. Okay, Bold Flutter being really nice. That's Life Orb Stellar. I guess that's no sort of ruin for you, but still. Moonblast KOs the Qianpao. Fantastic turn. Fantastic turn. We got rid of the Terra. Bold Flutter Mane, super coming in clutch there. That is fantastic. Okay. Granted, this is nowhere near over, but we definitely like that a lot. So is this Urshifu coming in? Or is this D-Knight? Should I say Flutter? Because they most likely get T-Spike up, which means that my Flutter can't really beat their D-Knight anymore. I do have Raging Bolt, and Raging Bolt is good in the back. I don't think I have to worry about Urshifu nearly. I think I just have to worry about this Wheezing and this D-Knight that's in the back. Okay. I don't think this is a bad plan. I need to figure out who to bring in order to plan accordingly. Galarian Moltres does some decent damage. They bring in the D-Knight. Okay. Taunt isn't a bad idea into the Wheezing. Curious what the D-Knight locks into, because it's probably not Stomping Tantrum. I feel like the best play is just to Moonblast a D-Knight and just maybe go for Terra Ivy Cudgel here. Actually, no, I think it's just... No, I think it's Spiky, actually. I like the idea of getting damage into the D-Knight and keeping Ogerpon around. If they T-Spike, I send in Galarian Moltres, which is fine. They go for E-Speed, which is interesting. I don't know why they locked in the E-Speed there. Okay. And if they're multi-scale, they're broken. I do get the Moonblast off in the D-Knight. It's really low on HP. And they go for Play Rough. Okay. So they're Play Rough, which is fine. I think here that means I can just go out into Galarian Moltres. I click Terra Steel, Terra Blast into the Wheezing. Actually, no, I should just Air Slash, right? I should just double up the D-Knight slot with Air Slash and Horn Leech. Yeah. Oh, I guess I could Terra Steel to avoid Play Rough doing so much, because maybe they go for Play Rough plus Extreme Speed into Moltres, but even then, that's fine, right? Because even if they do that, let's say, if they do that, Raging Bolt still wins, I'm pretty sure, because I just Terra Electric. They do go for the E-Speed, which is fine. As Horn Leech will KO the D-Knight, it also covered the Urshifu switch if the Urshifu switch happened, and then Air Slash into Galarian Wheezing should do a ton of damage. Yeah, now I think it's in range. Well, it is Citrus Berry. It's not. It is Citrus Berry, so it will survive another attack. We get the flinch. Okay. Well, even if they Play Rough and KO'd the Moltres, that was fine for me. Urshifu comes in. They have to go for close combat here, which is fine. I'm just gonna go for Air Slash into the Urshifu, and actually no, I'm gonna double up the Wheezing, I think. Well, they tear it. Actually, no, they tear it already, so I can always KO the Urshifu. I think I'm just going to Horn Leech. They don't have enough damage output. They go for close combat to take the knockout Ogerpon. They don't take the knockout. I get the Horn Leech plus Air Slash. I think I should have followed me. Air Slash looking back at it. I think Follow Me was better here. But yeah, actually, no. Horn Leech did KO Urshifu at -1. So I had a feeling it did, but I guess that still worked out pretty well. So I am able to eliminate Urshifu. Now I get an Air Slash into the Galarian Wheezing. And yeah, now it's like Giga over. As Play Rough KOs the Moltres, but I did have Raging Bolts in the back. So perfect. Okay, nice. They didn't bring Dondozo this time, which was nice. Because Dondozo was a very annoying Pokemon here. But I do think that their offensive mode was actually pretty scary. But the thing is, they didn't, I think, anticipate my Flutter surviving the Stellar Terra Ice Spinner. And they had to go for the Wheezing switch because it turned off my Photosynthesis. So the Qianpao would actually outspeed my Flutter Mane, which was big because if they didn't do that, my Flutter Mane outsped and KO'd the Qianpao. So it makes sense. I'm assuming it's Scarfish, and that's probably why they made the plan then. So that worked out really well for me. But yeah, now I just go for Ivy Cudgel. I go for T-Bolt. There's like no way I could lose this game. It's going to be forfeit. So nice. Nice. Even though that wasn't the dose I would have wanted to see how matchup goes, I think plan-wise it's fine. Not having Arcanine though kind of stunk for what I could have had, I think, in that position, but still not terrible, I think. All right, we have Glamora, Urshifu, Fluttermane, Rillaboom, the Cresselia, and Ursaluna Blood Moon. I feel like the matchup against Glamora is a lot better when we don't have to like focus all our resources into Dundozo, so that is very much appreciated here. I wonder which Urshifu it is. I assume it's water, but if it's dark, that could be scary, I suppose. Yeah, that could be a bit scary. Granted, I don't think I need Arcanine too much in this matchup. I don't think I really need Flutter in this matchup, unless I want to go for Taunt into Cresselia, which I guess I could. Yeah, Taunt into Cresselia is not bad. Galarian Moltres is really good offensively. I just got to deal with this Glamora. Glamora is a pain to deal with. I think I lead Raging Bolt immediately. Maybe no Flutter, actually. Like, unless the Blood Moon gets the Trick Room up, I guess it could be scary. But I think their other four are actually really solid against me. Like, I think Urshifu plus Glamora, Flutter, and Rilla are actually really tough for me to deal with. So I think I do Raging Bolt. Do I go Arcanine? Because it's good against Flutter, but I don't think I need it. I think I go Raging Bolt Rilla with Moltres and I think Ogerpon back. Let's see if this works. I'm not 100% sure. The thing is, offensive Glamora, especially with T-Spike, is just really annoying for my team. So we'll see. I need a lot of pressure into the Glamora immediately. Flutter Ursa. This is a very interesting lead. Okay. Versus Raging Bolt and Rillaboom. Speed booster Flutter? Well, it's booster energy. Could be special attack. Speed. Okay. Are they gonna Thunder Wave Blood Moon immediately? I don't think I need Raging Bolt nearly as much because there's no Glimlead, which is surprising to me. I think I'm just gonna fire off a Dragon Pulse and a Wood Hammer. They might double Protect Fear into Fake Out, but we'll see. We're actually gonna see Ursaluna retreat. So whatever's coming is taking an attack. Maybe this is Glamora? It is Glamora. So they try to pull a fast one on me on a Fake Out. Nice. They go for Taunt in case I'm Calm Mind, so this actually works out really well. They just misread the sets, I think, pretty hard because now I get a Wood Hammer, KO to Flutter. If they went for Icy Wind, I did have the Clear Amulet, so I wouldn't get my speed dropped. So only way they really like prevent my Rillaboom from moving before the Blood Moon is through a Thunder Wave, and I get a Dragon Pulse off into Glim. This is a really good turn. Yeah, that Glim is pretty bulky. It's slower than my Rilla, so it's not max speed. Good to know. Okay. Cresselia coming in. That's fine. I think here, though, I don't mind just going for a T-Bolt into Glim. The question is, what am I doing with the Raging Bolt? Or what am I doing with the Rilla slot? I could Wood Hammer to Crest for a good amount of damage. I don't think that's a bad plan. I'm going to Wood Hammer just for the damage because I don't really have a good switch to Sludge Bomb anyway, and I don't want to come in my Terra Rillaboom. I think I want it for my... I think I want it for anything else. They go for Meteor Beam. The Glamora is faster than my Raging Bolt, so if they Trick Room, this works out really well for me. Okay. So interesting speed tiers. They also didn't target my Rilla, which is nice. I get another T-Bolt off. Beautiful, and Trick Room goes up. Okay, so we're playing Trick Room, but my Bolt is faster than the Glim, so this works out pretty huge for me. I think if they Lunar Blessing, the Grassy Terrain makes this close, but I'm pretty sure I KO with Dragon Pulse. So I think my best play is just to Dragon Pulse to Glim and go for a Wood Hammer into Cresselia. I don't think they ever go Blood Moon. They probably Spiky Shield here and Lunar Blessing. Yeah. And if they don't, I think I get a knockout into Glim, and then I'm pretty sure Grassy Glide will finish off the Crest. Unless Dragon Pulse doesn't knock out, but that's close. Oh. Would have been such a good knockout. Okay. Granted, this is still very playable regardless. Raging Bull shakes off the taunt, which is whatever. We go Galarian Moltres here, and we fire off a Fiery Wrath and a Dragon Pulse. Yeah, let's see if the Cresselia's force a Terra or not. If they don't Terra, they take a bunch of damage. And if they Spiky Shield, that's fine. Because they Lunar Blessing, okay. I'm curious on who's faster between the Glim and the Moltres. Also, unless the Glim has Power Gem, which I don't even want to think about, I should be able to live any attack anyway, regardless. So this is Choice Specs Fire Wrath. Good damage to Cress. How many turns? 2 turns. Maybe I go for the Terra Electric T-Bolt into Glim. I think I go for Terra Electric T-Bolt into Glim and Fire Wrath. Yeah. The reason I was debating about this is because, unless my calc is off, I'm pretty sure Terra Electric T-Bolt will finish off the Glim even after another Lunar Blessing. And that means I get a single target Fiery Wrath off against Crest, because this is probably another Lunar Blessing. Plus maybe an Earth Power here. So, assuming my calc is correct, I should get the KO on Glim with Terra Electric T-Bolt here. And then I get a Fire Wrath as well. If I don't, this is pretty bad. Okay, yeah. Perfect. Perfect. Granted, this is still nowhere near over of a game, but this is still very much better than what it was earlier. Okay. So the question is, both of these Pokemon, do they survive Helping Hand's Terra Normal Hyper Voice? We'll find out. Ursaluna in. We click T-Bolt into the Crest, and we click Fire Wrath. Not really much to say here. We don't want to switch into Ogerpon because it does have some pressure against my opponent. I could have maybe went for a Thunderclap into Blood Moon potentially, but I don't think that's needed. I'm pretty sure that both of these Pokemon survive a Terra Normal Helping Hand Hyper Voice, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Because Blood Moon is really strong, but these Pokemon have really good Spadef. Helping Hand. I just need one of these to survive too. If I survive with either of these Pokemon, I should win the game, guaranteed. Yeah, I live with both. Okay, perfect. So I win the game. It actually wasn't even close. I thought it was going to be closer. T-Bolt into the Cresselia takes the knockout. Beautiful. And then Fire Wrath into the Blood Moon should maybe not knock out, but do a lot. Oh, it actually just one shot. Okay, okay. Good job, Galarian Moltres. Good job. I will gladly take that. And we are able to seal a nice victory here, which is excellent. Okay, beautiful. Beautiful. Glim a little bit annoying, but luckily we just don't let it get T-Spike up. That's kind of the idea here. Don't let it get T-Spike up. I think T-Spike here would have been fine realistically. Like I could have maybe went for high horsepower earlier, but then again that would have allowed a free switch to Blood Moon, which wouldn't have been ideal, so I think it was still fine. Because they played passive under Trick Room, which was a big part. And even though they did get a knockout, which was annoying for me, like it still kind of worked out fine, I think. And I was able to take first place in the ladder tour. Now, I do want to say I actually did play one more just to see if I could fight a different matchup, because we did fight a lot of the same stuff over and over again. But unfortunately, I ended up playing the Glimdozo player once again, and yeah, it just did not go well. I did try a Rillaboom adjustment, and I think Rillaboom could work, but mainly because the Glimmora was slower than my Rillaboom. But I think overall in the matchup, generally, it's probably pretty bad because Glimmora is usually max speed on the Glimdozo teams, so Rillaboom would be outsped, threatened, so I don't think it's really that helpful of an adjustment. I'm not exactly 100% sure like what could really be used to patch it. Maybe I had to lead Flutter Mane, maybe keep Rillaboom in the back so I can maybe like Thunder Wave and, you know, just maybe hope for some paralysis overall. But yeah, it did still seem like a really tricky matchup regardless. But I hope we were able to showcase the team for what it was. The Galarian Moltres was able to put in work. Granted, we didn't really encounter that many different matchups, unfortunately. So if you would like to check out the ladder tours, I do post it in the community post. So if you do want to try to enter with your cool teams, make sure you do, and I will be posting those on the YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe for more VGC content, and of course for those notifications for those tournaments. Overall, I felt the team was really fun, and yeah, it had some pretty good tools, right? You had the Hisuian Arcanine Intimidate, really good bulk, really good offense across the board, speed control, which is always appreciated. And yeah, I felt the team was pretty solid, so no surprise it was able to top cut the Toronto Regional Championship and almost win a Victory Road online tournament as well. So if you would like to check out the recreation of the team and the creator, they'll be linked in the description down below. But otherwise, I will catch you around next time.